Hello again. Let's talk about coping with housework. Obviously, if you don't have to do housework, if somebody else can do it for you, that's the way to go. But if you live alone and you feel that you want to keep on top of your housework, there will be times when you have the energy and you can do some, and there will be times when you have to just let it go. And you really have to ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen if I don't hoover or I don't dust? And just what I felt was, if I can put bleach down the toilet and I can make sure that the basin or a few things that where germs would lurk are clean, then a bit of dust, in my case, wouldn't matter too much. And then when I did dust, I would just mostly get a clean dishcloth, hot water, wring it out. I would just go around and I would just wipe the dust away so that I wasn't spraying and wiping and polishing and so on. Particularly now I want to talk about when you've had surgery, because they will say to you, don't lift a kettle for so many weeks. Now of course, if you live alone you need to boil a kettle, but obviously just put enough for 1 cup in it. Don't just fill it up. I'm terrible for just filling the kettle up too much. Then you can manage, but it depends of course on which side you have your surgery. I'm right-handed, mine was my right side. I had the central node and 2 other lymph nodes removed. So if I did overdo it, then I would get a pain under here, and that gets you to worrying. You know that you're going to get a pain under there, and you might have that off and on for years, but anything that starts you worrying, it just isn't worth creating that situation. So when you do start doing your housework again and you're feeling better and you're recovered and your surgeon says that's all right now to do a bit of ironing or whatever, I think then you've got to really focus on the equipment that you have. So at the time I had a really heavy vacuum cleaner, which I couldn't even push with one hand before I had the surgery. I was really struggling with it and sweating. And so I invested in a cordless, really light machine. And there's loads out there. Mine is a G-Tech, and it's a real joy to use. And then there's another one for the stairs. This is a bit heavier, and I would be careful when you order one to see what the weight of it is, because you know that could cause you trouble. Alternatively, you can try and clean with your other hand, your non-dominant hand, and I did try to do that, but it's so awkward unless you're ambidextrous, and I would swap back to the other hand before I'd even realised I'd done it. So the next thing, cleaning the floors. If you've got hard floors, tile floors, and you've got a mop that you twist, you know, that sort of action did cause me a lot of pain, and I get to stop halfway through really. So I invested in a steamer for the floor with a mop. Now my original one was a Vax, and I really liked that, but it fell over recently, and the steam wouldn't come out, so I haven't got it fixed, but in the meantime I couldn't manage without, so I just got this one tower, and this is really light. So the good thing with this one is lighter than the Vax, but it is not as good, the combination of cover and mop. So have a look to see what you think will suit you. So the other thing is that I would normally fill the dishwasher. A lot of people have dishwashers now, of course. If not, then you have to wash it. But I would just, if you haven't got a dishwasher, I would do it in small batches. Leave it to dry. If you rinse it really hot, that's what I do, then there's not much drying up to do. But if you do have a dishwasher, I'd fill it, do one load, and rather than wash up the other pots and pans or whatever, I'd empty it when it was finished and I'd put the next lot in and put it on again. And I know this is using more electricity, but actually I'm not using the boiler so much, and we're talking about just a period of your life, not forever, just to get you through until you are strong. So I hope that helps.